Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we have an amazing guest for you today. Before we get into that, let's just send some love and some shout outs to our sponsors who make this happen. Thank you so much, Carolyn Bob Green with Training You to Succeed, who is our lead sponsor. We also have Top Fox, Julia Noah with Breathe Capital Planning, and of course, Bomb Global and Ladies of Leadership. I am super excited. I met this amazing individual through the Connected Leaders Academy, actually at the Mike speaker competition with, I think it was Mike Story, with Jesse Cruz, who is one of our beloved partners that we go around the world with and speak on stages around the world. But this gentleman, Brandon Gaydorus, he is a 5-time author and founder and founded Warm Heart Life in 2019. On the day-to-day, he focuses on helping individuals execute on a personal level, professional level, and financial goals. He has been passionate about bringing personal development to his town of Stamford, Connecticut, through events like A to B, A to B Con in 2022, 23, 24, and 25. I have to get a little water in this morning. He is a TEDxStamford 2024, Map Your Way to Financial Freedom 2021, and a combination of both in-person and virtual speaker schools. After being the youngest voted on Golf Digest Top 50 Trainers in America list in 2019 to 2020, Brandon decided to shift his focus from fitness to personal development with the intention of growing together with as many people as possible. I am so sorry. Through his speaking schools, mentorships programs, comedy shows, and guest speaking engagements, Brandon has completed over 300 speaking gigs. Without further ado, let's get him right up here. Hey, Brandon, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's interesting when you hear 5-time author. It's like I remember when I walked into my mentor's office, I was 23 years old. I walked in there, I was like, oh, I'm writing my first book. And she goes, Brandon, why would you write a book right now? Why don't you wait 10 years, get really good at what you do, and then write a book? And what did I do? I stopped writing the book. So 2 years later, I go to a conference and there's probably about 10,000 people there. So there was a lot of energy throughout the 3 days there. And one of the speakers, he starts talking about how he wrote his first book at 25 years old. So I was like, if he can do it, why can't I? And 2 years later, that vision came back and I just said, work on book every day. I just tried to do one thing. And it's crazy how that led to now 5 books, but now I write comedy, and it's crazy thinking now that I'm doing my 3rd comedy special in a week. And, when I heard that term 5 times, it's like a lot of people hear that. They're like, oh, that's cool. But it's like, man, I was told not to do it. And I stayed away from it for 2 years. And then because I acted on it, it led to a lot of really exciting things down the road. And I see so many people who get their dreams shut down. And so often it's the people who shut our dreams down that inspire us to actually go for it.
I love that. That just gave me chills because that just reminds me of my journey, right? Before I even thought about coaching, speaking, or writing a book, I presented, this idea of building a leadership mindset to a community that totally, because of my lifestyle, was like, nope, we can't have that here. And that could have either made me throw in the towel or say, you know what, this is going to be fuel to the fire to get Bomb Global out there. And luckily, God just put it on my heart to say, just do it, get it done, go forward. So that's a great message to our audience, is that we are not to be listening to the outside noises. And then, I go and meet the publisher, Emilio Roman, who just asked me what was my story, and become the authority in your story. And the first word in authority is author. So write your book. And then 15 times later, I have one full book, just me, but it led me to make so many more connections in anthologies. Are some of those book anthologies as well for you, Brendan?
No,
Or
those
they
are all, yeah, those are all written ones. Yeah.
Nice. Can you give us kind of the genres of what you are putting out there in those 5 books?
Two of them were my previous careers. Two of them were golf fitness. And then the second one I put out in that was kind of one that I was really happy with everything I had been working on in my career, kind of that second version of the book. But it really made me feel good about knowing that I was going to exit that field, that was out there to the world. And then, so those are called the Ultimate Golf Fitness Program, like in some sort of way. There's 2 different versions. And then the first personal development book was The Care Principle. So it was just a book on the core values of Warm Heart Life. And so it's about 82-ish stories revolved around personal development. That the whole idea behind that is someone could read the story and then write their own version of that after that. Yeah. And then the second one for personal development was Skip College, Read This. And then the third one was How to Become a Phenomenal Public Speaker.
Love it. I can't wait. Definitely connect with Brandon and get your hands on those books. The one that really caught my eye is Skip College and Read This. Being a mom of just one son who just turned 20 that had no desire to go to college, it was really a tough decision as a mom, because you want them to thrive. You want them to get into all these things. And, me having a double associates and not doing anything with them, definitely not in my field at all. They're just hanging, collecting dust, and just really jumping into my passion. What would you tell someone who's in that space right now, just by writing that book? What is like the biggest core message that you have for that?
What? So for someone around that age, or someone who's interested in writing a book?
For someone that age.
Yeah. So whenever I speak to younger students, whether they're 14, 21, even, up to people, I'm working on a deal to get into Wharton right now. I'm hoping that goes through. Whatever age, I try and teach this degree that you could get the rest of your life. It's called your CBA. And the C stands for curiosity. What is it that you're curious about? One of the most viewed TED Talks ever was by this guy, Sir Ken Robinson. And, big thing that he talks about that is being able to get the creative side, the side that makes people think, out in the school systems. And so curiosity, if you can explore that, like, what is something that interests me? Who is someone that has what I want? If you can explore the knowledge of someone in that industry or a specific person, then you're going to be able to understand how to accelerate your path to get what it is that you want at a much faster rate. So, for example, if I'm curious about writing a book, then it's like, who's an author that I look up to? And the B stands for best. So if I look up to the lady who wrote Harry Potter, then it's like, okay, well, how can I start learning from her right away? J.K. Rowling, I believe is her name. So how can I start learning from her right away? Is it meeting her? Is it going to see her speak? Is it watching an interview and seeing how she looks at writing a book? Let me just go to her right away. And then the A stands for apply what they say. So it's like, if you can find something you're curious about, go learn from the best, and then apply what they say, you don't need a college degree.
Yeah, it's just so awesome. And I kind of want to pull it up real quick. It reminds me of the book 10x is better than 2x, and I'm not sure who the artist was who built the big sculptured man with the kind of globe on his back, and how he had to like dive deep into like how do bodies work to get the definition, and how he had to chisel this big marble and make his tools in a certain way, but he had to study everything about the human body inside and out in order to even deliver that. And it took him years, but he started asking himself those questions. So when you said that about the curiosity, I'm like, that's just spot on. And I'm literally listening to this audiobook like since last night. But you also have many things that you've created. Can you tell us a little bit about, even through your journey, whether tell us about probably the biggest thing you may have thought you failed on, but it was actually just another step into the growth and the success. So can you tell us about some of those mindsets you had to go through, and the people that, you surrounded yourself with in order to kind of break that? Can you share that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, with any endeavor that I've had in life, it's the failures that have pushed me to continue to work harder. And so I could name thing after thing after thing, but the one that sticks out with me is my company, Warm Heart Life. It took about 4 years for people to start to take it seriously. Like it took about 4 years before people were like, oh, like this is actually a thing. And I think the failure for me was not necessarily events being unsuccessful. It was events not being filled up the way that I thought they would be filled. So the first conference that I had, my goal was to get 100 people there. And I think I got 72. And you could look at that as a failure, but really those people who showed up, which was not even 72, I think it was somewhere in the 50s, those people who showed up changed everything for me. And what they did, what happened there was that motivated me to start working harder to get more people in the room. So, of course, the next year, the goal is to get 100 people. And so I was like, oh, I probably got to sell 130 tickets to get 100 people. And so get close to that. And it was very nerve-wracking every time I would commit to having these conferences, because like every time I would like not make a sale in a day, or get told no, or one of my best friends growing up, I remember him saying after the first one, he's like, I appreciate what you're doing. I respect what you're doing, but I'm not going to go to your events anymore. And, those things were tough to hear, but in reality, by continuing to push through those no's and those heart pounding nights, I was able to start to attract the right people to go into those rooms and the right people to grow with. So that's kind of an extended version. A more recent version is comedy is very challenging to put together a set that hits. A lot of people try comedy once or twice and they're like, oh, like, okay, that's harder than I thought, but that wasn't that bad. When you're trying to develop new sets in comedy, you go through a lot of humiliating moments while developing those. And there was a showcase a month or two ago where I thought I had my set down. It was like, oh, I got this. I did plenty of practice rounds. I get up there and the fourth line, I totally threw a different line in there than I had planned. And usually I'm pretty good at rebuttaling, or just if I mess up, like people barely notice. But I used a line that messed up the whole joke. And it just threw me off so much. And so I worked on that same set. And the next Wednesday, 4 days later, I went to open mic and it went really well. And so I think it's those failures that push us through, and you could probably relate to a million that you've had that have pushed you to continue to work harder and harder.
Absolutely, for sure. There's so many different avenues that life throws at us that sometimes we just don't know which direction. One, nobody's going to know that we messed up because it's our line, it's our stuff. Mm-hmm. But when a joke doesn't land, it can actually like totally discourage even getting back up on the mic again. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I definitely want to know, where did the idea come for your business name, and how comedy actually came into the picture, and how do you use that on top of everything? But we're going to take a quick break. We are going to share a recap video of our Empower to Inspire tour that just happened this May in Chicago, and we are ready to go to Las Vegas from October 3rd to October 5th. So let's check it out.
When was the last time you gave yourself permission to see keen? Take off the shade, stop the cycle. It's your time to build, to rise, to lead on purpose. I used to quiet the roar in my chest, played it small, second guessed, but now I see what I was born to do. Dreams don't wait, why should you? All those voices, they don't define me. I broke the loop, I rewrote the timing. Now every step's got fire beneath, 'cause playing safe won't bring me peace. I dream it, I build it, I elevate it. No more shade, I finally faced it. I hold the pen, I write the climb. This is my chapter, this is my time. Empowered to move, inspired to win. What if you never begin? So I rise on purpose by design. It's not someday, it's my time. Tired, I stood up tall, let the fear rise, then watched it fall. The cost of waiting's way too high. I'd rather leap than wonder why. What are you gonna lose if you never choose? This is your permission slip, signed by you. Make it count, get it done, command your presence, let the world see you shine. They told me to wait, I said if not now, when? I built it for bold, I won't pretend that I'm not meant to lead again and again. I dream it, I build it, I elevate it. No more shade, I finally faced it. I hold the pen, I write the climb. This is my chapter, this is my time. Empowered to move. Are you ready for it?
Yes, that was our Chicago kickoff tour. We're about to hit all 50 states in the next couple of years. And hopefully, Brandon, you will be hitting one of our stages, because what people don't know is this is open for men, women, teens. This is for everyone, next generation that's about to be built through our Youth Rising. And yeah, that is that. More information, check us out on buildingaleadershipmindset.com. But we are here with Brandon, who is also a 5-time author. He's a speaker, he's a coach, he's a movement maker. But I do want to know, where did Warm Heart Life come from? Because I'm all about love and the heart and doing it from there. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was really trying to take time to think about if my first career path was where I wanted to continue to go. So I was a golf fitness trainer, and ultimately I got to where I was voted top 50 in America at 26 years old. And I thought that was everything that I wanted until it happened. And I was lonely, unfulfilled, and questioning if all that work was worth it or not. And so I took a lot of time to think, and I would go to the beach and I would just sit there in my thoughts and see what came to my mind. And eventually I said, you know what, if I do climb another mountain, it's probably going to take another 10 years to climb. And I don't want to get there to the top and have that alone feeling again. I said, the next mountain I climb, if I do choose to climb another one, because I wasn't set yet, I said, I want to climb it with a massive group of people. I don't know what the product will be. I don't know what the service will be, but I stuck with the CBA formula, and I said, all right, who are the best companies in the world? And so that was what I was really curious about. I was really curious about building something special. And so I was like, the best companies that I could think of are Walmart, Amazon, Pandora Jewelers, and Starbucks. And so I studied their core values, and I put together the Warm Heart Life core values, which stand for care. And care originated because I saw a guy speak who had a multi-million-dollar business. He said people pay him thousands and thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars to help their businesses. And he tells them the same thing every time. You just got to care a little bit more. And he obviously goes in depth to the meaning behind that. But I was like, let me figure out what he meant by that. And so I explored that word care in the core values, but also in the book, the care principle. And I was like, someone who cares has a warm heart. And so that's how the name Warm Heart got created. And it was originally Warm Heart Fitness and Entertainment, where I was trying to have a gym that had a world-class gym facility, but then it also, at night, it turned into a concert venue where we had the top up-and-coming artists come and perform at night. And so I realized after a while that it was tough trying to do that type of entertainment, personal development type of business and a fitness business all in one. So in 2019, I split them up, and I had my first Warm Heart Life event, which was a musician showcase night. And I was going to continue in that route till the pandemic hit. And then that's when I switched towards more of a personal development theme with Warm Heart Life.
Oh my goodness. And when you're telling it, I truly feel it. I envision it. I believe it. It's totally authentically you and your journey. And I know we haven't known each other for a long, long time. We did share some spaces, even in Jersey, when you did your comedy skit, which we'll talk about in a few, because it was just amazing. It was just a different side of what I've been seeing in this personal development space. And I think that it's such a genius idea to just get people to laugh a bit. We go through business and life, and things get rough and challenges happen, and we're facing all these adversities, and it's just so much going on. But when you can add some humor and make someone smile about life and just living it, it's just so awesome what you do. And you really gave me that feeling when I first heard you speak. I know when we went to Florida and we were doing the Mike story, you were actually a judge there too. And I know I didn't get on time to actually see I think you were going to do a show that evening. I'm not sure if you got to or anything like that. And if you did, I missed it. And I was just super sad. But I was glad I was able to see you in Jersey. So let's talk about that. How you have your business, you're making these speaker conferences, you're connecting with people globally. I know you're about to do something really big out of the country. I don't know if you're ready to share that, but I know that. So just tell us, how did you get into that space?
Yeah, I started to notice the most successful speakers out there were adding a lot of humor into their 60 to 75 minute keynotes. And I would go to a lot of these speeches, and these speakers were a lot of them were just awful, these conferences. And so these bigger ones. So I was like, what are the good ones doing that the others are not? And all of the good ones seem to be adding humor into their skits, their keynotes, as you would call it. And so I saw Trevor Noah in 2023 in the very beginning. And he told a joke about the airport. My mentor, who taught me public speaking, told a 15-minute talk on the airport and related it to a personal development theme towards the end of it. But he would have me laughing the whole time. And so that's when I saw the blend with public speaking and comedy. And so I said, I think I can do this. And I'm not the best comedian in the world, but I have been able to do it in a way that makes people, feel like they're having a good time and laugh. And when I got into comedy, I said, the one thing that I want to be different is I want to tie personal development into it. And so my skit that I'm doing next week for my comedy special is called Figuring It Out. And it's about how over the last year being single, I've learned a lot, not just about myself, but about other people out and about. And one of the first things I had to learn was how to start flirting with the Gen Zs, because a lot of the people I would meet were Gen Zs. So the first part of that is learning to adapt to the way that Gen Zs talk, and then the second part was just loosening up a lot of people. Like I started to meet a lot of people, and I could just see like how tense a lot of people were, like especially if they haven't found their partner. And so it's been a fun year just kind of meeting people and joking with them and loosening them up a little bit. And then the part three of this skit is about the becoming a plus one, not only in a partner, but also as a friend. And so there's different things in there that kind of tie it all in there. And then the conclusion, I tie in my comedy journey towards figuring it out in the theme. So I'm really excited for it, but that's kind of how I got started with it.
Yeah, I am so excited for you and what you're doing and how you've put it all together. What I'm getting is that you're so inquisitive about your life, your next step, and what the big picture is, that you're like sitting with yourself, really getting the answers before you take action. And I want you kind of pour in to our audience who's listening to this, who's stuck, who just doesn't know which direction to go, whether it's speaking, whether it's co-authoring, whether it's, just starting something.
Yeah.
What should they be like? What conversation should they be having with themselves?
Yeah, some of the things that I think people should ask themselves is like, what do people say that I'm good at? What do people talk about that all of a sudden my eyes light up whenever I'm in a conversation about that? What gets me excited to get up in the morning? And when you can ask yourself those questions, you start devoting time to the things that actually interest you versus the things that you do to survive. And I think when you could pursue the things that interest you, that spark your curiosity, you're going to be a lot more likely to live a fulfilled life, because you see this too, Nikki, all the time, probably with people who are trying to make this transition into the business world. A lot of people are just trying to like make enough to fulfill their 9 to 5. But I would argue that if that's the reason you're going into entrepreneurship, then maybe you should rethink that, because in entrepreneurship, really, you're going to get burned out if you just continue to make enough money to survive, right? It's hard to do everything at, making 100,000 to 250,000 a year and being able to sustain that for a long period of time. There is ways to do it. It's just very challenging. So like, if you're interested in going into entrepreneurship, I'd highly recommend having a bigger vision where you can grow a team and scale. That way you're not consistently focused on doing the same things over and over and over again and getting burnt out. So that's something that I would think about that could save people a lot of time, energy, and effort. But I would also tell people, I'm like, listen, I see so many people that want to go into entrepreneurship because they don't want to have a boss, but a lot of those people have never had a good boss. And when you go into a company with a good boss, a good culture, a good team environment, there's a massive area of opportunity for growth doing something that you actually enjoy doing. Because, there's a lot of stuff that you have to do, Nikki, that you probably don't like. There's a lot of stuff that I have to do that I don't like. And it's part of growing a business, right? In entrepreneurship, a lot of times you get to focus on doing the things that you do like, which I just always thought, like, most people who hate their job, they just haven't found a good boss. And so those are some things that I would think about there.
Those are all awesome tips, but just start having those conversations. The conversations that don't include why me, it's why not me, right? We all have something to offer, to give to the world. Let us know how people can reach you and what do you have coming up? Like, what's going there? I know you have your special next week. I don't know where it's at. If you want to give the details, we can, because this is going to be up and ready to go. And then what else is coming up?
Yeah, so August 6th, I got my comedy special in Stamford, Connecticut. I got a speaker school going on in Stamford, August 22nd and 23rd. I'm hosting TEDxStamford September 16th. And then, got some other stuff going on in October. But November, I'm doing a speaker mastermind in Bedford Springs with the founder of CLA, Jose Escobar. So excited for that too.
Yes, absolutely. One of our past sponsors for Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. This was amazing, Brandon. Just getting to know you. Check out warmheartlife.com. Connect with Brandon on Facebook and any of his other socials. He is just a joy to just chat with, keeps it real, and it's all about the growth, right? Just getting out there and doing the thing. And if speaking is something that you want to level up in, Brandon has those speaker schools. Check those out. Thank you, Brandon, for joining the Bomb Global podcast family. We're going to be featuring you in a couple weeks for our 200 interview celebration of the last 50 guests that's been on this show. Final words, and we will close this out.
Yeah, thank you for doing what you do. I look at math in a very simple way. 1 + 1 = 2, 1 - 1 = 0, 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, 1 - 1 - 1 = -1. The key to our world being able to change more positively over time is more people like you who genuinely try and listen to people, who genuinely try and give people an opportunity where they can grow, and who help people get their message out there, who are making an impact instead of news that is just going to continue to clog our mind. I think that if we can get ourselves around more plus ones, more people who add value instead of drain value, collectively we can make this world a better place. I can't change the world. You can't change the world. Who's ever listening, they can't change the world, but collectively we can. And it takes people like you who are being that influence on so many people to be able to make this change. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much, Brandon, and likewise. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Again, connect with Brandon. And as I always say, make it count. See you on the next episode. Have a great one.